Suzuki Ingerslev, production designer for Based on a True Story, which is based on the true crime phenomenon. So are you as into true crime podcasts as much as Ava on the show?
I actually in the beginning did listen to a few of them. I always liked the Crime Junkies, and I would always listen to that on the treadmill. But this is kind of a little bit different. It's almost like a satire on the crew crime of it all. So our showrunner based it on an experience that he had, and then went and embellished it a little bit further. And then you add Chris Messina and Kaley Cuoco, and you've got like an amazing ensemble that makes it kind of a dark comedy.
Mhm. I love their house. It's this cute little like Spanish bungalow, and they start this podcast mostly because of their financial struggles. And I love how you could tell that they're just from like their living space, that they're like middle class and they're not well off like their friends or the mansions that Ava, who's a real estate agent, is trying to sell. So how did you find that space, for their house? Like, is it just the exterior? What's the interior builds?
That was our big challenge. It took us 6 weeks to find that house. We went in different directions. We were threading a very fine needle. When you think about it, that's probably a $2 million house. And you're kind of pleading poverty to the point that you're going to want to do a podcast with a serial killer. So we kind of had to convince other people in the country that it's not the perfect house. They probably, bought it a long time ago. And the way we did that was having it be less than. The kitchen's not been remodeled. The bathrooms are the old tile. There's cracks in the walls. And even my decorator, he spent time finding some of the furniture that's kind of broken. So you don't get to do that very often. But it was subtle, but in juxtaposition to all her friends, as you said, that's how you really sell it. They have these uber mansions that, you can't even compete with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have like state-of-the-art appliances, and their toilet breaks down. So
Exactly. That's how you got to sell it, because, it's like Spanish bungalows are tough. They're hard to make look bad. They always look good no matter what.
Mhm. So how did you go about, furnishing the interior of like finding these kind of, not completely brand new furniture, maybe like it's like, older style, maybe like hand-me-downs, like thrift shop type of stuff?
And, for the most part, that's what my decorator, Ron ViFranco, did. He went around and went to some thrift stores. But we also got some new stuff. I think keeping it kind of tone on tone and in the beige world and not making it too hip and cool kind of pointed us in that direction. But the other thing was that they're a young couple and they hang around wealthy people on the West Side. So they have some smattering of taste. Like, you can't make them look like, they're just thrift store people, because they wouldn't be. And we tried to bring in the like younger generation of it all with the plants in the house and kind of what's currently going on that doesn't cost a lot of money, but that, they could afford, and make it a little bit cozy, and a little bit tighter, like a little bit more claustrophobic in there.
Hmm. Yeah, and like Nathan, he teaches tennis at a very elite tennis club. It's not like the YMCA or anything, and he used to be a pro. So it's like they had some money, from his playing days.
Absolutely. And, the tennis of it all, he was like reliving his glory days all the time.
Hmm.
So you kind of want to bring that element into it too, where it's kind of sad. Like, I feel like tennis is kind of a metaphor for this whole thing. Like, he never planned what the next step in his life was going to be, right?
Yeah.
Once you give up what you love, you have to find that next direction. And I think he was kind of lost. And we kind of had that color code that the house would be desaturated, and it would kind of be kind of more about failure and, stuck in a rut, that kind of feeling, while the tennis court, on the other hand, and the houses like represented green and blues and money. Like, the courts were blue, you have gardens in the big houses that are all green, and it's kind of, blue skies and money and ocean views. So we kind of had a little bit of a color palette going on.
Hmm. I love tennis, so I love his little shrine of his past trophies. And the apparently he won Wimbledon juniors in '97. So
That was
how
a tough
did you go
thing.
about like making those trophy props?
Oh my God, if I told you how long that took, that was very complicated, very specific. And we spent probably as much time on that trophy case wall than we did on building that entire house. We had to build and draw and light and furnish that entire house in 4 weeks because it took us so long to find the ideal house. And as you asked me earlier to go back, it was a location, and it was, not a perfect Spanish bungalow. We fixed it up a little bit and then built that on stage, and created our own interior. It was very specific because of all the action that needed to happen. But that trophy case, we spent as much time on that, and they wrote articles that were the real kind of articles. We went back and forth on what tournament could he have won, without being ridiculous.
I mean, he beat Federer at Indian Wells, man. So that was.
And the irony is that I'm an ex-tennis player as well, and I played throughout high school and all that, and I was supposed to play in college, and then I didn't. And so bringing back all that tennis stuff to me is that's my punishment.
But you never started a podcast with a serial killer, so.
No, I thought about it. No.
Well, going back to what you said about the colors, I love the color palette. Like you said, you use a lot of the greens and blues for the more affluent areas, and then they're more desaturated. And I also like the lack of red, unless Matt is in the picture or Death is in the picture.
Oh, good, you got on that. Yeah. So that was also our mandate, to kind of make it, when you see red, the red booths of the club, or all the red stuff that's going on, that's going to be an indication of the blood and the danger and violence. And we had fun with that.
One of the most fun episodes is Crime Con. So, and I know you guys didn't go to Vegas. It was in LA, right? You had to recreate booths and everything in a hotel. So how did that all come about?
So they wanted to go to Vegas, but we just didn't have that kind of money anymore. And so I reached out to Intercontinental Hotel. I've worked with them before, and they're lovely, and they really supported us. And all the venues we needed, which were at least 6 of them, we could do in one hotel. So it saved us a lot of money from moving hotel to hotel, the ballroom to this and that. So we kind of staged there for over a week. And we had the time to kind of, put up all the booths that we had to do. And that was not easy. There was no research on the real Crime Con. We missed it by a year. It was in Vegas the year before. It would have been fun to research it, but we could find no pictures on it. As deep as we dug, we couldn't find anything. So
there's no coverage of Crime Con? That's so weird.
No, we couldn't find it. It was so weird. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to just make it what we think it should be. And it's about, booze with serial killers. And they always try to sell the merch and the books and so we reached out to some vendors that we know, my decorator's friends with somebody that writes books. And so we were able to use all their books, and we had some fun with it. I mean, it was a very, very quick up and down, but I think it turned out really great. And by using that hotel, it felt very modern. And so you didn't have to do quite as much because you had such great walls and stuff behind you to help fill in the gaps.
So how many booths did you create for it?
I think we ended up with 18 of them.
So was it just kind of angling them in the right way to create depth to make it seem like it's covering bigger space than it actually is? Yeah. This is
my second or third prime or convention that I've had to do. So you kind of have to make a dead end in the booths, and you just have to shoot a little bit lower so that you believe, you put banners up high and you believe that the whole convention's going on. And then we came up with the idea to have a ballroom that was right next to it, have some screens, and it looks like the convention continues into that room. So it kind of gave it the scope and scale that we needed on a budget and in a very quick timeline. But it was fun to do all those. We did a what's your alibi board, and I made everybody on the show write on a Post-it note and put what their
I definitely paused to look at all the details.
Some people put the funniest things up. It was pretty hysterical. So it was kind of fun getting everybody involved in it too, which is always nice.
Well, lastly, it's been renewed for season 2. So have you started planning for that yet? There's a huge cliffhanger from season 1.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what's really going to happen at this point because of the strike. So everybody's kind of, waiting to see if when that's coming back, if other things are coming back quicker. It's hard to know, with the strike. It's definitely been tricky, and I feel bad for a lot of people and prop houses and all that stuff. So I am hoping that we come back soon.
Yes, fingers crossed. Well, Suzuki, it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you back here in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.